Okay.
Yes, Pachi.
Shall I start?
Yes, Pachi.
Thank you. ॐ दक्षिणस्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशव वामन कृष्णपाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्. So in the last session we saw all the details about Anatma. The Anatma was divided into three layers: the Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira. And always, Sthula and Sukshma Sharira are not very difficult to understand. But it is the Karana Shariram or Maya is something, very difficult to understand. And I tried to make it as possible to be understood as possible by giving you various examples. And we saw that this entire three-layered Anatma is called as Anatma. That is, na Atma iti Anatma. I am not that. What I am not the Anatma. That is what here it is ascertaining. That is Shastra or the Vedanta is ascertaining here, telling me that you are not the Anatma. You are not the Stula Sharira, not the Sukshma Sharira, not the Karana Sharira. But simply ascertaining that I am not the Anatma is not sufficient. We already saw that there are two things. One is Anatma, the other one is Atma. There are two things. I'm a mixture. When I say I'm a mixture of Anatma, body, mind, sense complex, which was called here Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharira, and Atma. Now, just by ascertaining by Shastra that I am not the Anatma is not sufficient. I am Atma, all right, I am Atma. What is that Atma? That Atma has to be described now. Otherwise, it is like just saying that I am the Atma, just another word. I am not the Anatma. If I simply say I am not the Anatma, I am the Atma without knowing what Anatma is, how will I know I am not the Anatma? So that is why Bhagwan Shankaracharya took so much of trouble to describe in detail the Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira. And now we have understood very clearly that I am not the Anatma, Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharira, Traya. Then who am I? What am I? I am the other part, the next part, the second part, that is the Atma. Now, what is this Atma? Shastra has to explain and make me understand what this Atma is. So now in the next 5 or 6 verses, Bhagwan Shankaracharya is going to answer the question of what is this Atma. And the student had asked, Kaha Paraha Atma, Param Atma. So this Atma also is called as Paramatma by Shankaracharya because it is the very Swarupam of me, that which is within this Anatma, that because of which this entire Anatma is functioning as Anatma, that which is lending its consciousness for the functioning and making the entire Anatma sentient, that is what is called as Atma, and I should know its Swarupa. I should know its Lakshanas. What is the meaning of Atma and what are the Swarupa Lakshanas of Atma? That is what is going to be talked about in the next 4 or 5 verses Let us see whatever, however much we can complete, we'll complete, because this is one topic. What is this self? What is this atma? What I call as atma? What is this karma? And it was given as param atma. Param atma means that which is the limitless self, that which is limitless, that which is not really limited by anything, that which is called as the limitless self. This is what is called as the param atma. So what is this param atma? That will be described here as to what it is. Now he says in the verse 124, in the main Vivekachudamani, verse number 124. अथ ते सम्प्रवक्ष्यामि स्वरूपं परमात्मनः यद्विज्ञाय नरो बन्धात् मुक्तः कैवल्यमश्नुते. Quite simple, simple like Bhagavad Gita. So he says here, Athate sampravakshami. So the teacher is saying, now, from now onwards, Atha means after having described and given the explanation of what Anatma is, now from now onwards, Atha idanim, now onwards, te sampravakshami. To you, I am going to very clearly explain. Pravakshami means explain. Sampravakshami means very clearly explain. I mean, it is very samyak pravakshami. Samyak means in a proper way, in the way that you can understand. I am going to explain to you what this is. Swarupam paramatmanah. Paramatmanah Swarupam. What is the very nature of this Paramatma? That is what I am going to talk to you about, and I am going to explain to you some Pravakshami very clearly in such a way that you can understand. Just like you ascertain very clearly what you are not, just like you very clearly ascertain what this Anatma is, in the same way, in a very clear manner, I am going to explain to you what this Param Atma is, what this Atma is which you really are. Yad Vijnaya, knowing which, Yad Vijnaya, having known or knowing which, Naraha Bandhat Muktaha, this person who understands the nature of this Atma as to who am I am this Atma. See, just asking this question, who am I, is not going to give me the answer. Who am I has to be studied by Shastra, Guru Mukhena Shastra Shravana. And by knowing this through the Shastra, Guru Mukhena Shastra Shravanad Vijnaya, having understood what is the Swarupam of this Atma, then Bandhad Muktaha, I get free from this bondage. What is my bondage? That is going to be told later. After this Paramatma, the bondage is going to be talked about as to what is bondage, what is the meaning of this bondage is going to be talked about. Basically, let us understand that taking myself to be what I am not is bondage. Confusion about myself. If I am a combination or a mixture of Anatma and Atma, what am I out of these two things? Am I the Anatma or the Atma? I do not know. So, what happens? Anatma is something very easily available to me, something which is very easily, possible for me to understand and see. So, when something is very easily available to me and something which I can easily understand, I mistake myself to be that. So I confuse myself to be this Anatma. Why I confuse? Because I'm ignorant about my own Swarupam. When I'm ignorant of something, I always confuse for something else. It is always the case. In anything, if I'm ignorant of something, there is always a scope of confusion. There is always a scope for mistaken notion. And what is this bondage? That is going to be explained later. But he says here, Bandhat Muktaha. What is this bondage? That right now, since I do not know what is my Swarupam, since I do not know what I am, this Atma, what I am, what is this Atma, I confuse myself to be Anatma. I have a wrong notion. It is a self confusion. Self ignorance is leading to self confusion. And that self confusion is what? Rather than identifying myself with the Atma, I am identifying myself with the Anatma. So, this is my confusion. This is the self confusion. So, this is my bondage, which is going to be talked later after this. The next topic is what is bondage. But then, here He is very clearly saying that bandhat pramuchyate, that is bandhat kaivalyam ashnute, that is free from bandha. And when this freedom from bondage happens, that is called as kaivalyam or moksha. Kaivalya means what? Kevalasya bhavaha means what? There is only one thing in this jagat, and that is Atma or Brahman, and I am that Atma. Atma is one, and I am that one indivisible Atma. There are many Anatmas, many names and forms. Anatmas are many, but I am not the Anatma. All these basic concepts which we have already seen in Bhagavad Gita, at the same time, we have seen it in Tattva Bodha also. So I am that Ekam Advitiyam indivisible Atma Swarupa consciousness. I am not the Anatma. When I understand this, my bandha or my bondage, I am released from that. And this release from this bondage of mistaken notion, self confusion, mistaken notion, release from that self confusion or mistaken notion is called as Kaivalyam. Kaivalyam is another name for moksha. So moksha means what? That I'm free from my bondage. The bondage has come because I am identifying myself with what I'm really not, and I do not know what really I am. And when I come to know what really I am by what is going to be talked about in the next few verses, I understand that my mistaken notion so far, because of which I was in bondage, that mistaken notion is gone. The mistake is cleared by knowledge. And when this knowledge clears the mistake, I'm out of bondage. And this is what is called as Kaivalyam. Kaivalyam means I attain freedom from bondage, which is also called as moksha, which we have already seen already in Bhagavad Gita also. Next, we'll go to the 125th verse, 125 verse. Now, Bhagwan Shankaracharya is going to talk about the Swarupam, or what are the characteristics, what is the Swarupam, what is the nature of this Atma. Atma means what? I myself. So what is my nature? What is my real nature? What is it that I really am? That is what is going to be talked about. 125th verse he says, Asti kaschit swayam nityam aham pratyayalambanaha Avasthatraya sakshi san panchakosha vilakshanaha. So what is this? Now he's naming, just like he named Maya, Avyakta Namni, Paramesha Shakti, which we saw in the last session. Like that, the Atma is being named now. He says, Asti Kaschit. There is something. There is something. Why does he say there is something? Because I don't know for sure what it is yet. I am not aware of what it is yet. So he says, Asti Kaschit Swayam. There is something which is there, which exists by itself. It is independently existing by itself. Anatma depends upon Atma, whereas Atma is something Swayam. It is independent. It does not depend upon anything. It does not depend on the Anatma. It is actually something which supports the Anatma. Therefore, he said, Asti Kaschet. There is something. There is something because I don't know what it is. That is why right now Shankaracharya says, Asti Kaschit. There is something. Swayam. Swayam, which is by itself, which exists by itself. And what is its nature? Nityam. Nityam means that which is eternal, that which is present in all three periods of time, that which is even beyond time, that in which the time and space are also located. This is what is called as the Nityam. This is Nityam. Nityam means what? Swayam Nityam. By itself, it is eternal. That is something which does not come and go. That is why it is achaloyam sanatanaha najayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyah ajo nityah shashvatoyam puranaha na hanyate hanyamane sharire. So what is this? Swayam nityam. It does not come and go. It is not born. It is not dead. It is present beyond time. It is that in which time is also present. Nityam. It is eternal. It is not limited by time. It is not actually, parichinna or limited by time. Kala aparichinnaha, desha kala aparichinnaha, kala aparichinnaha, eternal. That is always there. There was not a time when it was not there. There was not a time, there will not be a time when it will not be there. And that is what I am. I am ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranaha na hanyate. That is something which does not disappear. What disappears? What dies? Hanyamane sharire. It is the body which gets destroyed. But I, the Atma, I am always there. So Swayam Nityam Aham Pratyaya Lambanaha. What is the meaning of Aham Pratyaya? When I say I, the real meaning of this I is Atma. Aham Pratyaya. Aham Pratyaya means Aham, I am. When I say I am, the real meaning of this, when you say I, what is this I? Right now, what is my opinion? I am the Anatma body mind sense complex. Right now, that is my opinion. But what is the reality? Aham Pratyaya Lambanaha. That means what? This is the real meaning. This is the reality of what I say as aham. Why does Shankaracharya say that? All the time, there is that feeling, there is that constant pulsating aham, aham, I am, I am, I am iti. Nobody has to tell me you are. Nobody has to prove my presence. I am, I know. I know in the Jagrat Avastha also. I am iti, no, I know in Swapna Avastha also. In Sushupti Avastha, I may not know, but when I wake up, I know that I am the one who actually slept and dreamt and went into the deep sleep state, and I am back again awake. Therefore, who am I? I am that person who's aham pratyaya, the I thought. Pratyaya means thought. When the I thought comes, I. What is the meaning behind this I thought? The meaning of this I thought, the real meaning, the real understanding of the aham pratyaya should be that I am this Atma. Aham is not anatma. Aham pratyaya, the I thought, refers to this Atma Chaitanya. It does not refer to the anatma. Therefore, it is aham pratyaya lambanaha. Avasthatraya sakshi. I am the very witness consciousness of all the three avasthas, the three states avasthas. The Jagrit avastha, where the physical body or the Sthula Shariram is predominantly active. The Swapna avastha, where the Sukshma Shariram is predominantly active. And in the Sushupti avastha, where the Karana Shariram is predominantly active. But who am I? I am that Atma. I am the knower of Jagrit Avastha. I am the knower of Swapna Avastha. I am the knower of Sushupti Avastha. Because of me, the Jagrit Avastha is. I am there, therefore the Swapna Avastha is. I am there, therefore the Sushupti Avastha is. I am in and through the Jagrit Avastha, in and through the Swapna Avastha, in and through the Sushupti Avastha, but I am neither of them. I am neither of them. I transcend them. That is why in an Upanishad called as Mandukya Upanishad, this Avasthatraya Sakshi Atma is called as Turiyam. Turiyam means the fourth. It is not the fourth state, but compared to the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, Asti Kaschid Turiyam, Asti Kaschid, he said here, there is something to count the fourth one, which is neither Jagrat nor Swapna nor Sushupti. It is behind all the three avasthas. Therefore, who am I? I am neither the Jagrat Jiva nor the Swapna Jiva nor the Sushupti Jiva, but I am the Avastha Traya Sakshi Atma. Now let us take an example for this. There is an ocean and there are number of waves that are appearing in the ocean. If you see from the point of view of the wave, every wave is different. It has got a time of origin. It is there for some time and it just wobbles around for some time and then disappears. It has got its lifespan, its lifetime. We know that it is there. Now, if you see the ocean looks as if from the ocean the waves are arising. But if you really look into it, what is a wave? It is nothing but water. The water is the ultimate sakshi of the wave also. Water is the ocean also. Therefore, ocean is one name and form. The waves is one name and form. The bubbles is another name and form. Foam is another name and form. But behind all these three or four things, if you take, what is there? There is one water. So we can say this water is the sakshi, or that which is the adhishtanam, that which is the very support of the ocean also, of the wave also, of the of bubbles also, and of the foam also. Therefore, similarly, there is water in the ocean. Ocean is also water. Wave is also water. Foam is also water. Bubble is also water. But then water can be without any of these things. Water need not be a wave. Water need not be the ocean also. Sorry. Therefore, what it says is the three avasthas, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, are because of this Atma consciousness. But the Atma is not limited by Jagrat Avastha or Swapna Avastha or Sushupti Avastha. Just like water manifests as the ocean, water manifests as a wave, bubbles, and foam, but water need not be any one of them. It is independent. Because of water, the ocean is also there, the bubbles are also there, the waves are also there, the foam is also there. Similarly, because of this Turiyam Sakshi, Avasthatraya Sakshi, all the three avasthas are there. The avasthas belong to the Anatma, whereas Atma is the Sakshi of the three states belonging to the Anatma. Similarly, the wave name and form, the foam name and form, the bubble name and form, the ocean name and form is name and form Anatma. What is it that is behind all these four names and forms? It is nothing but this water. Similarly, this Atma, I, is not only Nityam, but it is Avasthatraya Sakshi. That is why when I wake up from deep sleep, I understand very clearly it is the same me who was awake, who went to sleep, who dreamt this particular dream. Then, for some time, I didn't know what was happening, totally fast asleep, totally ignorant of everything. Now I am awake and I am the same waker who slept yesterday night. What is it that is the common thread which is there between the waker, the dreamer, and the sleeper, because of which all the three are known? It is what is called as Avasthatraya Sakshi. In the language of Mandukya Upanishad, it is called as Turiyam, and this is called as the Atma, which is Avasthatraya Sakshishan Panchakosha Vilakshanaha. The anatma can be divided in many ways. All this time we saw anatma being divided as shariratrayam. Sthula shariram, sukshma shariram, and karana shariram were the three shariras which were divided. The anatma was divided into three. Anatma can be divided in many other ways also. That is, only anatma can be divided. It is divisible. Atma cannot be divided. Atma is one indivisible consciousness. Atma cannot be divided. Anatma can be divided because it is name and form, because it is anatma. Anatma can be divided into sthula sharira, sukshma sharira, karana sharira. In another way, the same anatma can be divided as five koshas, five layers. The sthula sharira is called as annamaya kosha, and the Sukshma Sharira can be divided into three sub varieties of Sukshma Sharira called Pranamaya Kosha, that is the breath sheath or the physiological sheath, Manomaya Kosha, the mind sheath, Vijnanamaya Kosha, the intellect. So the Sukshma Sharira can be divided it again into three subdivisions. Then the Karana Shariram can be called as the Anandamaya Kosha. So here, the three bodies, the Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira, from another point of view, to describe the Anatma, can be described as Panchakoshas, 5 sheets or 5 layers: Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. This is the division that is done in Taittiriya Upanishad. See, Bhagwan Shankaracharya, though he is a pramana in himself, he uses here to talk about Atma's Swarupa, taking from the Upanishads. Nityam, he takes from the Shruti and Smriti, Nitya Atma. He says Avasthatraya Sakshi, that he takes from the Mandukya Upanishad as the Pramana. And here he says Pancha Kosha Vilakshanaha. The entire Taittiriya Upanishad is describing how the Atma is different from the 5 koshas. Pancha Kosha Vilakshanaha. If you remember, in Tattva Bodha, how is Atma described? शरीरत्रय व्यतिरिक्तः पंचकोश विलक्षणः अवस्थात्रय साक्षी is described as Atma in Tattvabodha. Same thing. See, Tattvabodha and Vivekachudamani are nothing but, the Vivekachudamani is an extension of Tattvabodha. So if we have studied Tattvabodha, Vivekachudamani becomes much more easier and faster for us to understand. So here, from the language of Taittiriya Upanishad, Bhagwan Shankaracharya says, this Atma is something which is other than the 5 koshas. So we have already seen that this Atma is Shariratraya Vyatiriktaha, other than the 3 bodies. It is the consciousness behind the 3 bodies. It is that which lends its consciousness and existence to the 3 bodies. Therefore, it is Shariratraya Vyatiriktaha. It is that which is other than the 5 koshas. Pancha Kosha Vilakshanaha. But all the 5 koshas get their existence, their sentience, their consciousness from this Atma alone. At the same time, it is Avasthatraya Sakshi. All the 3 avasthas get their sustenance. The waker is a waker because of the Avasthatraya Sakshi Atma. The dreamer is a dreamer because of Avasthatraya Sakshi Atma. The sleeper is a sleeper because of the Avasthatraya Sakshi Atma. Therefore, who is the Atma? What is me? Who am I? Asti Kaschit Nityam. I am that Nityam, Shashvatam, Ajaha, Puranaha, Shashvata, Nitya, unlimited, eternal. I am that particular Atma, that is that consciousness, eternal consciousness, infinite consciousness, which is not limited by time, and it is actually the real meaning of Aham. Aham Pratyaya meaning. The real meaning of Aham Pratyaya is that Atma. Then Avasthatraya Sakshi, I am the Sakshi or the witness of all the 3 avasthas, and I am also the witness of the 5 koshas. So this is my real nature. I am not the Anatma body mind sense complex. I am not the Anatma panchakoshas. I am not the Anatma 3 states which belong to the Anatma in the form of Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. I am that which is other than all of them. And all of them are because of me, because of my presence. I am present in and through all of them, but independent. Without them also I can exist, but they cannot exist without me. Anatma cannot exist without the Atma. Anatma is dependent upon Atma. Anatma has no independent existence of its own. Therefore, Anatma is called as Mithya. Similarly, I talked about Mithya in the last session. So, Anatma is Mithya. Similarly, Jagat is Mithya. Why? Because the Jagat of names and forms cannot exist independently by itself. Then what does it depend upon? It depends upon Brahman or Atma. And Atma and Brahman are not 2 different things. Therefore, what is this? This is that Atma, I am, Aham Pratyaya Alambanaha, Lambanaha, Aham Pratyaya, the meaning of real meaning of Aham, and I am the Avasthatraya Sakshi, Panchakosha Vilakshanaha, Shariratraya Vilakshanaha. Then, next verse, 126th verse. What does he say? Again, some of the Swarupa Lakshanas of Atma is talked about. Yo vijanati sakalam jagrat swapna sushuptishu buddhi tadvritti sadbhavam abhav, abhavamahamItyayam. So what does he say now here? What is the nature of this Atma, me? I am of the nature of consciousness. Anatma is of the nature of matter. It is a matter principle because it has come from Maya or Prakriti. Then who am I? I am the consciousness principle. I am the Sakshi Chaitanya Atma, the consciousness principle, which you can call the spirit also, the matter and the spirit. Sometimes we say matter is the Anatma, and I, the consciousness, non matter principle, which we can call as the spirit, is my real nature. And this Atma reveals everything. Yaha vijanati sakalam. This Atma is the one who is the knower of everything. Atma knows everything because it is the very observer. The entire Anatma is the observed. The entire Anatma is the known. Who am I? I am the observer, the knower. I am the observer consciousness, the knower consciousness. What is Anatma? The observed matter principle, the known matter principle. Therefore, yo vijanati sakalam. Atma, I. See, whenever we are trying to understand the Atma, let us understand it as myself. That is the easiest way to understand. Let us not take the Anatma as a third person or as a third thing. Now, when described, Atma is being described, let us understand that Atma to be myself. And when I am understanding, let me convert that Atma to myself. So, yo vijanati sakalam, the one who knows everything, the one who's the knower of everything. Whatever is there in the Jagat, whatever matter principle is there in the Jagat, whatever is there, there is a knower consciousness. That is why I say, I know, I know. I know this, I know that, I know that, I know this. There are millions of things which I know, and there are millions of things which I don't know also. But I know that I know, and I know that I don't know. Correct? I am aware of my knowledge also. I am aware of my ignorance also. Now I say, I know English. I know that I know English. I don't know Chinese. I know that I don't know Chinese. Now, what is the meaning of that? Sakalam vijanati. I know everything, the known and the unknown. Okay. Now, I may know the whole universe with all many of its millions of its names and forms. Somebody may say there is one new planet in the solar system called some X3456 or something like that. What is, oh, is it so? I don't know about that. I know only up till Pluto. After that, what is there, I am not aware. That means what? I am aware that I don't know also. So, Sakalam Vijanati, this Atma I know everything. And where do I know everything? Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu. In the Jagrat Avastha also, the entire Jagrat Prapancha I know. In the Swapna Avastha also, the entire Swapna Prapancha I know. Whatever is there in the Swapna Prapancha, all the things that are happening in the Swapna Prapancha I know. In the Sushupti Avastha also, I know that I don't know. I know that there is ignorance. So I am aware of my knowledge also. I am aware of my ignorance also. So I am that consciousness, I am that Atma who knows the presence of everything, the absence of everything also. The presence of something is also known by me. The absence of something is also known by me. So, yo vijanati, this Atma, I vijanati, very clearly know and understand Sakalam, this entire universe. And what is my entire universe? Jagrit Avastha, Swapna Avastha, Sushupti Avastha is my entire universe. So whatever is there in the Jagrit Avastha, I know. Whatever is there in my Swapna Avastha, I know. Whatever is there in the Sushupti Avastha, I know. That means what? The entire Anatma Prapancha is observed which in Sanskrit we call as Drishyam. The entire Anatma, including my body, mind, sense complex, is Drishyam. And who am I? I am the observer consciousness, the knower consciousness, which is called as the knower or the Drik Swarupa. So there are only two things in this world: Drik, the knower, Drishyam, the known. Drik, the observer consciousness, Drishyam, that which is the known thing, which is observed. Drik, the subject I consciousness, and Drishyam, this, which I call as this, Aham and Idam, I and this, I and that. And when I say Aham, that Aham Pratyaya Alambanam is what? This particular Atma, which is nothing but consciousness Swarupam. So, Yaha Atma Aham Vijanati. Vijanati means what? Knows. This consciousness, Atma, I know. Sakalam, everything that is to be known. Jagrit Swapna Sushuptishu, I know. Buddhi Vritti Sadbhavam, all the thoughts that are arising in the mind, in the buddhi, every thought that arises, I am aware of. And how do I perceive the world? By the thoughts. It is the thoughts by which I perceive this whole world. Therefore, I am aware of all the thoughts that are there in the buddhi, in the Jagrada Avastha, in the Swapna Avastha. How do I experience the world in the form of thoughts? When I say I know this glass of water. When I say I know this glass, it is a vritti, it is a thought. So, how do I experience the world outside? By my thoughts. Therefore, here it says that this Atma, this consciousness, this I, buddhi vritti sadbhavam. I am aware of all the thoughts that are there in the Jagrat and Swapna Avastha, and no thoughts in the Sushupti Avastha, that also I am aware of. So abhavam aham ityayam. So that whatever is not there also, the absence of thoughts also I am aware of. The presence of thoughts in the form of experiencing the Jagrata Avastha, Swapna Avastha also I am aware of, and the absence of thoughts in the form of not experiencing anything in the Sushupti Avastha also I am aware of. So who am I? I am the Sakshi Chaitanya Drik Swarupa Atma. And what is this Jagat? Drishya Swarupa Anatma. And Achetana. It is not Chetana. I am the Chetana Atma. I am the consciousness Swarupa. Whereas the Anatma is what? See, we have to bring in the comparison. Anatma is a Chetana. It is Jada. It is Drishya. It is Savikari. It has got all kinds of attributes. But who am I? I am the Nityam. I am Nirvikari. That means I don't undergo any change. I am the Sakshi. I am the Druk. I am the observer, the knower, which does not change, which is aware of, and which knows everything which is there in the outside world. Therefore, who am I? I am this Atma, Drik Swarupa Atma, Avasthatraya Sakshi Atma, Panchakosha Vilakshana Atma, Shariratraya Vyatirikta Atma, Nitya Atma. We have seen that in Bhagavad Gita. Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Atma. We've already seen that. So who am I? I am this Atma. And I'm sorry, the abhavam of thoughts also I am aware of. Absence of thoughts, my ignorance also I am aware of. Next, the next, in the next verse, 127th verse, some more features or Swarupa Lakshanams of Atma are given. Then, Yaha Pashyati Swayam Sarvam Yam Na Pashyati Kaschana Yaschetayati Buddhyadi Natadhyam Chetayatyayam. It is an extension of the previous verse only. Whatever we saw in the previous verse, it is an extension of the same thing. Yaha Atma Aham Pashyati Swayam Sarvam. by myself, by itself, without being aided by anything else, this Atma is able to see. Does the Atma need the help of anything else to see the whole world, to become a Drik, to become the knower consciousness, to know something? Does it need the help of something else? No. He says, Yaha Pashyati Swayam. This Atma is the observer, Swayam, by itself, without taking the help of anything else. Let us take an example. This light is shining here. Does this light require something else to reveal it? It does not require, correct? The light is revealing itself and revealing everything that is there in the room. Correct? Similarly, Atma, Swayam, it reveals itself and without anybody else's help, without the help of anything else, it reveals the entire matter principle. So, Pashyati Swayam Sarvam. This is the light of consciousness. That is why it is called light of consciousness. That is why in the Mundaka Upanishad and in the Kathopanishad, that verse which is always chanted during Aarti, Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam, nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agnihi, tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam, tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. Tasya bhasa, when this light of consciousness called Atma shines, everything shines after it. What is the meaning of that? This Atma, without the help of anything else, without the instrument of anything else, is able to reveal directly the entire Anatma. In the previous verse, what was said? This Atma is the Drik Swarupaha, the observer consciousness, the observer, Drik Swarupaha, the knower consciousness, the knower. But does this knower consciousness use something else? Does it require something else to reveal this entire Jagat? No, it does not. Swayam Pashyati, because it is the light of consciousness in whose presence everything gets revealed. This Atma Chaitanyam does not require the help of anything else to observe the Drishya Prapancha. It reveals itself and reveals everything after it. So, Yam Yaha Pashyati Swayam Sarvam, Yam Na Pashyati Kaschana. Nothing else can actually light up this consciousness. This light of consciousness lights up everything else because light of consciousness is the only consciousness. It lights up the Anatma. Anatma cannot light up this light of consciousness. So, Yam na pashyati kaschana. Nothing else can light up this Atma. This Atma lights up everything. Nothing can light up this Atma. That means what? Atma lights up Anatma. Anatma cannot light up the Atma. Why? Because Anatma is Jada and Atma is Chetana Swarupa. Just like this light, let us take the example only till this example. Like the light here is not requiring the help of any other light to reveal itself or to reveal whatever is there in the room. The light reveals itself. I know there is a light. At the same time, in the presence of that light, I know what is there in this room. Similarly, I know this Chaitanya Atma is there. At the same time, this Chaitanya Atma is lighting up everything. Yamna Pashyati Kaschana means nothing else. The Anatma is incapable of objectifying it. Atma can objectify the Anatma because Anatma is Drishyam, Atma is Drik. Whereas the Drishyam cannot objectify the Drik. The Drishyam Anatma Jagat cannot identify or it cannot reveal the light of consciousness. Maybe these are going to be a little difficult initially. One has to be with it, listen to it again and again. But then it's not that difficult. Don't take the Atma as a third thing. Take it as myself. I can see everything. I don't need somebody to tell me I'm there. I don't need the proof that I'm there. Nobody needs to prove that I'm there. If somebody asks me, are you there? Yes, I'm there. Should I ask my neighbor whether I'm there? No. I am revealing myself, and after me, I am revealing everything else that is there. Therefore, Sarvam Vijanati Swayam Yaha Pashyati Swayam Sarvam Yam Na Pashyati Kaschana Yas Chetayati Buddhyadi. Chetayati. This Atma I make the entire Atma, my body, mind, sense complex sentient. I lend consciousness to the Sthula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, and Karana Shariram. Because of me, the conscious Atma, because I lend consciousness to this Sthula Shariram, the Sthula Shariram can move and it is sentient. Because I lend consciousness to this Sukshma Sharira, the Sukshma Sharira can do all its jobs. I lend consciousness to this Karana Sharira, because of which the seed called as Karana Sharira can sprout into its Karyam, called as the Sthula and Sukshma Sharira. Therefore, Yaha Chetayati Buddhyadi. The entire Sukshma Sharira is Chetayati, made sentient. This Atma I make the entire Sukshma Shariram sentient, and the sentient Sukshma Shariram in turn passes on the sentience like a relay race, it passes it on to the Sthula Shariram. Atma does not directly make the Sthula Shariram sentient. Through the Sukshma Shariram, it makes it sentient. How does it make it sentient, the Sukshma Shariram? By forming a reflection in it. We saw that in the 13th chapter, Chidabhasa, we saw that Sukshma Sharira, being very, very subtle, reflects this consciousness, and because of that reflection called as Chidabhasa, the Sukshma Sharira itself becomes a conscious entity. And this consciousness is in turn spread to the Stula Shariram by the Sukshma Shariram. So, yes, Chetayati Buddhyadi, na tadhyam Chetayati ayam. Nothing else can make the Atma sentient, because Atma is Chaitanya Rupa, Chaitanya Swarupa. Atma is not Jada Swarupa. So it is only the Atma which makes the Anatma sentient. It is only the Atma which transfers its sentience and consciousness to the Anatma. Anatma cannot make the Atma sentient or conscious, because consciousness is the very nature. Consciousness is the very Chaitanyam, or consciousness is the very nature of this Atma. Then in the next verse, what does he say in the next verse? He says in the next verse, प्रकृति विकृति भिन्नः शुद्धबोधः स्वभावः सदसद् सदसद् सदसदिदमशेषं भासयन्निर्विशेषः विलसति परमात्मा जागृदादिष्वस्थाः स्वहमिति साक्षात् साक्षिरूपेण बुद्धेः. So he says here, what is this then? Who am I then? Prakriti Vikriti Bhinnaha. So we can use it, you can chant that in another way also. Prakriti Vikriti Bhinnaha Shuddha Bodha Swabhavaha. So what is this Atma? It is Prakriti Vikriti Bhinnaha. It is other than the cause, which is Maya, and the effect, which is the Anatma Jagat. Vikriti means the changed world. Prakriti means the potential Maya. Who am I, this Atma? This Brahman, Atma is one and the same. Who am I, Atma or Brahman? Prakriti, Vikriti, Bhinnaha. I am other than the Karanam and Karyam. I am not the Karanam Maya, nor the Karyam Jagat. I am not the Karana Shariram, nor the Karyam Sthula and Sukshma Shariraha. Shuddha Bodha Swabhavaha. I am of the nature of pure consciousness. I am of the nature of pure consciousness. Means what? There is not an iota of matter. I am Karana Karya Vilakshanaha. One more feature. शरीरत्रय व्यतिरिक्तः पंचकोश विलक्षणः अवस्थात्रय साक्षी Nityaha, fifth one, Karana Karya Vilakshanaha. I am neither the Karanam Prakriti or Maya. I am not the Karana Sharira. I am not the Karyam Prapancha. I am not the Karyam Sthula Sukshma Sharirani. Then who am I? Shuddha Bodha Swabhavaha. I am of the nature of pure consciousness. Sad Asad idam ashesham bhasayan nirvisheshaha. Whatever is this Sat and Asat, whatever is real experience, whatever is Mithya, that also I light up. I light up the reality, I light up the Vyavaharika Satyam, I light up the entire Mithya universe also. Sad, Asad, Sad, Asad, Bhasayati. We can even take that in the five elements Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi. The last three elements, Agnihi, Apaha, Prithvi, have got a name and form. They have got a form. Whereas Akasha and Vayu do not have a form. But it is the Atma which lights up the space also. It is the Atma which lights up Vayu also. I know that the space is. Though it is not available for perception, I know that the space is. What is the knower of the space? Atma. I know the Vayu is. Though Vayu is not seen, it is felt. I know the Vayu is. So, what is this Vayu? I know. This knowing consciousness knows Vayu also. Agnihi, the form of Agnihi, the form of Apaha, water, the form of Prithvi, the earth. This is called as the Sadrupaha, Murta Prapanchaha. The elements which are having a form also I know. Agnihi, Apaha, Prithvi. Those elements which do not have a form are called as Asad. Sad, Asad. I know. I can identify, I can light up those elements which do not have a form and also those elements which have a form. Therefore Sat Asat Idam Ashesham. Idam Ashesham Jagat, which contains three elements with form and two elements without form. This Ashesham, without leaving anything, this entire Jagat made up of these five elements, I can light up. Bhasayati Nirvisheshaha. Nirvisheshaha means without any kind of speciality, commonly, equally, without undergoing any change. This Atma, I light up the entire Anatma Prapancha. Vilasati Paramatma Jagradadishu Avasthaha. This Paramatma Vilasati. It is as though it is playing around in the Jagrat Swapna Sushupti Avastha. There is an example given in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad where it says, you have a river with the two banks, and fish can move from one bank to the other. It never settles down on either banks. The fish just keep moving from one bank to the other. Like that, this consciousness is available. It is available in all the three states. It looks as if this consciousness is moving in all the three avasthas, but it is not moving. Consciousness cannot move. It is all pervasive, it is nityam, but it is vilasati, it shines. Vilasati means it shines. Vilasati Paramatma. This Atma, I the consciousness, the Drik Swarupa Atma, the awareness consciousness, shine in all the three avasthas. Jagradadishu avasthasu aham ahamiti. How do I shine in all these avasthas? How do I shine as Atma in everything? Aham, aham, aham iti. All the time, I am, I am, I am. That awareness is there in me. Isn't it? I am. I means what? Consciousness. Am means what? Existence. I exist. I am. I exist. I exist. I exist. Every waking minute and in the waking second and in the dream second, even in the Sushupti Avastha also, it is very clearly available to me. What is available to me? Aham ahamiti. Jagrit Swapna Sushupti Avasthasu Aham aham iti sakshat sakshi rupena. Sakshat sakshi rupena. I am what? The witness. I am the witness of everything. I am the witness of the avasthas. Here, Bhagwan Shankaracharya is giving a lot of importance to Avasthatraya Sakshi because that is one experience. Let us forget about all the Atma Anatma. That I am a waker, that I dream, and that I have a deep sleep state is something which all of us experience. And we also experience that there is something which is there, which is shining in all these three states of Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, Avastha. Therefore, Vilasati Paramatma, I the Atma shine, Jagradadishu Avastaha, in all the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, Avastaha, Aham Ahamiti, in the form of I exist. Iti constantly spurantam. That we have already seen that in Dakshinamurti Stotam. Aham iti spurantam. There is not a moment where I am not aware of myself. Every moment I am aware of myself. I am iti. So aham iti sakshat sakshi rupena buddhehe. It is shining in my buddhi all the time in the form of ahamasmi, ahamasmi. I exist in this form. It is all the time shining. So, who am I? I am this Atma. What kind of an Atma I am? I am not the matter principle, number one. I am the Chaitanya principle. I am the consciousness principle, which is Nityam, which is Shariratraya Vyatiriktam, which is Panchakosha Vilakshanam, which is Avasthatraya Sakshi. It is Drik Swarupa. I am the seer, I am the awarer, I am the observer, and the entire Anatma is observed. I light up the whole universe and light up myself also. I reveal myself in the form of aham iti spuranam. I reveal myself at the same time. I reveal the entire universe also. And I shine in and through all my experiences, in whichever avastha it is, whatever I experience. In every experience, there is one thing which is common, that is nothing but I, the consciousness Swarupam. The experience changes, the objects of experience change, the experiences change, but I, the observer, the consciousness of the experiencer, the experiencer consciousness does not change. It shines constantly without any change, nirvisheshaha, without having any ups and downs, constantly ahamasmi, ahamasmi, aham iti, in and through every experience, I, this Drik Swarupa Atma, shine vilasati. Therefore, who am I? I am not the changing Drishya Swarupa, Jada Anatma. Who am I? I am the Drik Swarupa, Chetana, Avasthatraya Sakshi, Chaitanya Atma, shining in every experience. Every experience is possible because of me, the Atma Chaitanyam. I reveal myself and reveal everything else. In every experience, that which is constant, never changing, is nothing but me. With this, the Guru has completed the portions about what the Atma is. So we have finished two topics now. What is Anatma? We have finished. What is Atma? We have finished. Now, next in the next session, we'll go to Kodama Bandhaha. What is this bondage? How has this bondage come about? How this bondage is sustained? How to get free from this bondage? These answers to these questions are going to be talked about in the topic of bondage, which we are going to see from the next session. Maybe one or two sessions we'll have to deal with the bondage and its nature. Now we have dealt with Anatma and its nature, Atma and its nature. Anatma Swarupa, Atma Swarupa. Now, what is Bandha Swarupa? Those four questions, the first four questions, we'll deal from the next session. Om Nandantu Sadhaka Sarve Vinashyantu Vidushakaha Avastha Shambhavi Mestu प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुः सदा। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ तत्सत्।